Hello there. I am guessing that you're watching this video because, like me, you too are confused about Slack. I know I was when I first started using it, and the thing that really confused me was that there were multiple ways to access it. So you could do it in your browser, from your mobile, or you could download a desktop app. And I struggled to work out which one was going to work best for me. The other thing that I struggled with was that you had to access each workspace that you were a member of separately, and that didn't synchronize across all ways to access Slack. So you could log into your workspaces in the browser, but that didn't show in your mobile phone app. So there was no synchronization, and that just discerned me. I didn't understand. But what also took me a while to understand was that the workspaces aren't really linked or connected. And that's really evident on the browser. You can't see here that I'm a member of any other workspaces, whereas on the desktop app you can see down the left hand side there are 4 icons, and those show which workspaces I'm a member of. I also struggled to get my head around the idea of what a workspace is, and I guess that's partly because I use Asana and various other bits of software, so the workspace I think of as being mine, and everything links to it. Slack's different because you don't have to have your own workspace. You can simply use Slack to access other people's workspaces or shared interest groups. So here you can see I am a member of 4 workspaces, and from this I could launch each of those workspaces. And the way I got my head around workspaces was to think of them as shared interest groups rather than a workspace. So that the 12-week year is a shared interest group. Everybody's taking part in that project. And Drive the Network, that's a shared interest group, and within their workspace there are different channels, and the channels are where you have conversations about specific things. So in Drive the Network there'll be a channel for, let's say, Get More Things Done, or a channel to discuss Ask the Expert. And every conversation around each of those specific topics takes place in those channels. So rather than having one inbox where all of this communication comes into, it's automatically separated out into the appropriate channel, assuming people use the channels correctly. So let me show you what I mean by that in an email folder. So let's say that the 12-week year doesn't have a Slack group. Everything is done by email, and every email that's related to DAM has the subject line DAM, and every email relating to WAM has the subject line WAM. All of these emails are flooding into your inbox, and you then have to file them away in the appropriate subfolders, or for getting more stuff done. You've got emails coming in about Asana because people are asking questions and they're copying everyone, and then you file them away in the Asana channel. And Slack takes away that. You don't have to have all these subfolders because whoever is running that workspace creates the channels for you, and you go to that channel and that's where you have the conversation. So let me show you what that looks like in the Slack browser. So I'm going to go to the 12-week year, and here you can see the channels DAM, General and WAM. So if I click on WAM, in this channel is everything to do with WAM. And if anyone is talking about their daily goals as opposed to their weekly goals, then those conversations take place in the DAM channel. And they're automatically split out because you have these channels. There's no filing of emails as they come in. Now, I mentioned earlier that the desktop app is easier to navigate, and the reason I think it's easier is because to access your different workspaces or your different user groups from the browser, then you have to do the switch down here. And it's kind of quite easy to forget at the very beginning that you've got these other user groups that you can go and see what's going on in. So I do suggest that you head over to slack.com/downloads. This is the Windows download, and then download the app for your desktop. The other reason is that if you close your computer down, when you start it up, Slack will automatically start and run in the background. It's also quicker for uploading files if you're using the desktop app rather than uploading to the browser. So let me show you what Slack looks like in the desktop app. You can see down the left-hand side, you've got your workspaces that you're a member of, or your user groups, your special interest user groups. And you can easily switch between them. And if there are messages outstanding, then they will show as well. Now, you may not want to have a workspace for your organisation. I will go into this a little bit more later on, but I know when I first created the Saunders and Lee workspace, I'd really hoped that I was going to be able to get clients to use it, and that just hasn't happened. So for me, it felt like an incredibly lonely place because actually there was just me. And as I said earlier, I didn't really understand that the workspaces, other workspaces, belonged to other people. I didn't get how to access them. There are lots of open communities that you can join. So you can just do a search for open Slack communities, put your email address in, click join, and you will receive an email into your inbox. So the email comes into your inbox, you click join and fill out the user information. And the same thing would happen if I invited you to join one of my Slack groups. You'd get an email, you'd click join now, you'd enter your name, your display name and your password. And you can use the same information for every workspace that you join. You don't have to use lots of different names and passwords. And then once you've joined it, then you obviously agree to the terms and conditions without reading them. And it invites you to go through the tutorial. Here is all the stuff that Festivals is sharing. Now, that's in the browser. So if you wanted to add that to your desktop app, you would click on the plus here. Add their Slack name and click continue. And that's added now to my desktop app. It's not on my phone though, I have to do that manually. So that's the slight irritation, is that you have to do these sign-ups manually. So we spent a little bit of time looking at how workspaces work. Now let's have a little look at the channels within a workspace. So I go to my Saunders and Lee workspace. Whenever you create a new workspace, there will always be the general channel and a random channel. You can delete random, but the general channel, that stage you can't delete it. I've created Project Air Balloon and I've made this a private channel. At the moment it's got 2 members, myself and Janet, and if I wanted to invite more people, then all I need to do is click here, invite more. And I click up at the top here, and you'll see that there are 3 different types of person within a workspace. Members can access messages and files in any public channel. Now, a public channel is a channel that has a hashtag next to it. A private channel is one that has a padlock. Now, a multi-channel guest can only access messages and files from selected channels, so only the channels to which they are invited. And a single channel guest can only access messages and files in a single channel. Now, the difference between these, yeah, obviously single channel and multi-channel, but if you want to invite multi-channel guests, you need a paid account. Now, I don't know how this has happened, but I seem to have loads of Slack credits, and I don't know if I get them because I've signed up to Workspaces. I just don't know. So if you do want to use multi-channel, give it a go, because you might actually have some Slack credits and you don't need to pay. So let's say I want to invite me, Louise the other one, and I'm going to invite them to Project Air Balloon. So the email has been sent to them. So the email comes into your inbox, you click join and fill out the user information. And the same thing would happen if I invited you to join one of my Slack groups. And then when they respond, they will be added as a member here. And all they will be able to see in the Saunders and Lee workspace is Project Air Balloon. Now, why that's important is if you wanted to use Slack with your clients, so if I go over to the ACE workspace, let's say you've got 12 projects. If, for example, you wanted to use Slack as a way to communicate with clients on specific projects, then you would want each of these channels to be private channels. You might have a client that you want to work with on project 9, 7, 4. So you would make those channels private and only give them access to those channels, and that would make them a multi-channel guest. Now, if you want to create a new Slack channel, all you do is click the plus here, type the channel name, and the purpose of Louisa channel is to discuss all things about Louisa. You can send invites here if you want to, or you can simply create the channel and send invitations later. And at this point you can also choose to make it public or private. You don't have to make that decision now. You can leave it as public and go back and make it private later. So you've got that flexibility as well. So now we've got the Louisa channel. So anyone else at the moment in our workspace can join it because I've left it as an open channel. If I want to change the channel settings, then I just convert it to a private channel there, and you'll see the padlock pops up. And it's worth having a nose around in the settings here. You can have this sidebar closed or not. If you click on channel details, then you can see who's a member of the channel, any shared files. We've got no shared files here, but if I went over to Project Air Balloon in the Saunders and Lee channel, then you'll see there's loads of shared files there. So that's how you create a new channel and where you can view the files. One of the things that might also be concerning you is who can see what. And it's a little bit like Facebook in that respect. You can send a direct message to one person, or you can send a direct message to multiple people and have a private group conversation amongst yourselves. Anything that you post in the channels, that's available for anybody to see who is a member of that channel. So like Facebook, if you comment on a status update, everybody can see that comment. But if you send a direct message to that person, then it's a conversation just between you and them. Now, I know one of the other things people struggled with was the way that the communication ran within a channel. You'll see here that we were demoing that you don't have to, a bit like Facebook, you've got the overriding comment. Someone makes a comment, you can reply to that comment only, so it doesn't feature as part of the main comment thrust. And the same is true in Slack. So you can reply to a specific statement and then you can see the thread here. So if I wanted to reply to Rachel here, I would start a thread and then that opens up a slightly separate conversation. Now I touched on the fact that you can add files to Slack. So Project Air Balloon here, that's got all these files, and those files are only shared within Project Air Balloon. They're not shared to every member of the workspace. And you can also make a telephone call direct from Slack as well. You just click start a call and then link up with the person that you want to talk to. One of the other things that is a little bit odd about Slack, but I actually really like it, is you can set your notifications per channel. So in Saunders and Lee, Project Air Balloon, I would click on the cog and then I would select notification preferences, and I can select new messages, just mentions, or nothing. And if I wanted to, I could mute the entire channel. And you can do that for every channel within a workspace. You can also set your preferences here so that you'll be notified about new messages, whether you want to use different settings for your mobile device. whether you want to automatically have a do not disturb on, whether you want to play a sound. So you can really narrow down your preferences when it comes to notifications. The other thing that's great with Slack is they've got a really decent storage limit when it comes to files. So the free plan is 5 gig and the paid plan is 10 gig. And each file itself can be up to 1 gig in storage size. Now, if there's anything that you don't understand or you want to know more about when it comes to Slack, Google is a fantastic resource. There you go, Slack file limits, and it comes up and lets you know. Their help centre is astounding. So let's say, how do I create a workspace? Create a workspace, join a workspace. The answers are all there. Or how do I create a channel? Create guidelines for channel names, mute a channel, create shared channels. So if you don't know how to do something in Slack, and if you would like to do this in a live session where we can play and you can get a feel for it, then let me know and we'll invite you to the Get More Done workspace and we can play in there. If you've got any questions, then do give me a shout. I hope this has been interesting, and I hope that it will have cleared some of the confusion that you may have had about using Slack. I know for me and my business, getting clients to use it has been incredibly difficult, but members of my team and I, we use it to have conversations throughout the day, and it's also lovely not having to file those emails. Please do give me a shout if anything doesn't make sense. I'll gladly have a session with you to talk you through some of the aspects. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye now.